Good afternoon, everybody. I am Alex Johnson, president of Plano West Rotary Club, and I am excited to turn it over to our acting Sergeant of Arms, Mr. Randall Livingston. Take it away, Randall.
Yes, thank you, Alex. It's great to be here today. And it's great to have this honor to actually recognize some birthdays. I don't know if any of our members are here that are having birthdays, but I'm going to recognize them anyway. Benton Hall.
Randall, why don't we wait till just before prayer and pledge?
Okay. Okay. So we're going to do brags now? Okay, great. We'll do brags. Okay, perfect. Okay, as we just ended a season of celebration and saying thanks for all the things that we've been blessed with, this is a perfect opportunity for us to talk about brags and to remember those things that we're thankful for. And I always like this section of the meeting because it gives us that opportunity to talk about things that we are just proud of. So I'm going to start with, I guess if people are entering, I'm going to start with the couples, as Alex stated. We're honored to have a couple here. So why don't we start with the Thornton household and talk about some brags that they may have.
I got to do the pledge on the Rotary. So that's in the next 10 minutes. Prayer.
Go ahead.
I'll start. So Glenn and I are excited that for the next 3 weeks, we get to babysit our granddaughter
3-month-old granddaughter
on Thursdays and Fridays for 3 weeks. So
Wow.
yeah, we're excited. So she's a little over 2 months old,
almost 3, yeah.
just adorable.
Okay.
And we're very thankful for her.
Oh,
And
that
we
is
love
great.
Thanksgiving and all the food. That's our favorite holiday. Of course, the family, when we can see them. We saw some of the family, but
Okay,
Limited
well,
this year, for
wonderful.
sure.
That is great. Always good news. We have a future Rotarian coming up, right?
yeah.
So let's go next with Lisa. Lisa, do you have any brags for us today? Lisa? Oh, there we go.
Sorry.
Okay.
I'm sorry. I'm trying to get my headphones to work. I can't get them paired. You're asking about brags?
Yes.
Oh,
Congratulations.
we just had a really nice, quiet Thanksgiving. Just the three of us. My oldest son stayed in Austin. And yeah, I think that's it. Just a nice Thanksgiving.
Well, great.
Oh, wait, I do have one more piece. I don't
sure.
think I did get the $25,000 grant from Collin County.
Oh, yay.
That is actually
great
really
news.
big news.
That is big news.
It is.
So I'm
Super
going to do
happy
the
with
Brady
that.
Bunch thing and go to my right. And LaShawn, do you have any brags for us today?
I don't have a specific one, but life is good, and I'm thankful for that. Glad to be here today.
Well, wonderful. Great to see you.
Thank
And then
you.
I'm going to go up a square and go to Roger. Roger, do you have any brags for us today?
Well, yeah, I was lucky enough to spend Thanksgiving with my wife, my oldest daughter, and my oldest granddaughter. So that was not everybody, but some of them were there. So that was good.
Wonderful. And let's see, I think I'm gonna go over to my left and go to Mr. Zane. And I know he has a good brag for us today. How about it, Zane?
I don't know, finished my midterms for almost everything. I just have one final left, and I have like my final scores for most of my classes, and I did pretty well, so I'm happy about
Great
that.
A's, huh?
Yay.
Wonderful. Good news. And then I'm gonna go to Mr. Gibbons. Bob, do you have any brags for us today?
Yeah, on Saturday, I pulled myself out of bed, a nice warm bed. Instead of that, I ended up riding my bike on the Northeast Texas Trail in 45-degree weather for 26.5 miles. Now that doesn't sound like a lot, but it's a mountain bike on a non-hard surface. So it's like gravel and dirt and that kind of thing. So I was dang proud of myself.
Well, that is good.
Yeah.
You're here to tell us about it.
Well, not about that, but
And you know, Bob, that's 26 more miles than I did on a bike. So that's great.
hopefully you were in a warm bed though.
Oh, yes, I was. Okay, let's go to Mr. Fred Thomas. I see him in the corner here. Do you have any brags for us today?
I would like to brag on last Wednesday. when South Oak Cliff passed out food boxes.
Oh, that's great.
Over 1,250 food boxes. It was really wonderful. The guy who did, he's a Hispanic ministry. We're helping that area out. And he had music on, and people were getting saved. Opportunity to pray with people in their car. So I think that was a blessing. People that want to be saved and during this crisis we in now.
What an awesome experience. That is great. And let's finish with the trend of Thomas, the last name of Thomas. Mr. James Thomas, what do you have for us today as far as a brag?
Well, I don't know if it's a specific brag, but first I want to lay into Bob's thing. Bob, you and I basically did the same thing. I too did my bike riding this past Saturday. Okay, it's not actually bike riding. My bike that I never ride, in the garage, I moved it over a couple of feet so I could back my car out, okay? So would that be, Randall, would that be what you did?
Absolutely, that's probably about the same movement I did. I maybe moved some holiday lights from one area to the next. That's about all I did in my
So
garage.
we see you, Bob, you and I were just like this.
Absolutely.
You hit me up the next time you ride.
Yeah, oh, I'm not riding a bicycle. No, my body wasn't built for bike riding, okay? But I do want to say that I did have an opportunity to go out with several of my cousins, and on Thanksgiving Day we delivered food to the hotels up and down, hot Thanksgiving dinners to some of the hotels up and down Central Expressway here in Plano. So 15 at one place, 20 at one place, 10. So those residents who I know that some of my homeless kids are also there, they had an opportunity to eat hot food, but we enjoyed that. Since in family, we generally do families at our church on that day, a big family picnic, but since we wouldn't do it, I want to make sure everyone else had an opportunity to eat. So.
Well, that is great. It's always great to hear this news of people getting out in the community and helping those less fortunate. So that's great. Good to hear. Let's move over to Mr. Frankenfield. Do you have any good news to share with us or any brags?
Yeah, I'll brag. I got my Christmas decorations up before December 1st, and that's a first.
Oh, great. You're way ahead of me.
Yes.
I'm still working on that. Okay. Well, let's go to Mr. Alex Johnson, our esteemed president's better half. Laura Johnson, do you have any brags for us today? I think you're still muted. There you go.
So my brag is going to be that we survived Thanksgiving. It was very peaceful, very relaxing. It was really, truly like a mini vacation for me. I think Alex probably has recognized this as well. And we even talked about it because one, I needed a vacation because I'm overworked. And two, the girls don't always go with the flow that we want to go with. So it was very enjoyable. So kudos to my kiddos.
Wonderful. That is great. And having teenagers, I know exactly what you mean. So Mr. Lawton, I see you down here. You're not on video, but if you're with us, would you like to share a brag?
Sure, I'll be happy to. I installed a new oven in my lake house on Thursday, and then we cooked Thanksgiving dinner for the family.
Wow, all in the same day. That is a major accomplishment.
Yep, long story there, but finally got a good double oven that works. I bought a new oven back in June, and that one had a factory defect.
Wonderful. Well, if I think I have everyone except for our president that has not given his brag yet. So I'm going to give him a chance to give his brag if he wants to add something to his lovely wife's brag.
Yeah, definitely. Laura understated it. We had a phenomenal Thanksgiving. We went off the grid for Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, no email, text messages, voicemail, social media. And it was just her and I, our kids, like she said, for the most part, did their own thing. We actually did a family Christmas movie, which we probably haven't done that in a decade. So it was unbelievably awesome. It was almost like we went out of country. with no electronics. And then of course, Monday I had, about 400 emails and all that kind of good stuff. But and a lot of people, how come you didn't get back with me? But hey, it was awesome. So that is my my brag, because we haven't ever done that in Plano.
Well, that is great. Well, I think that concludes our brags, unless I've missed anyone. That's all I have on my screen here of all of the brags. So I think that wraps it up for the brags. Thanks, everyone.
And next, Randall?
Next, we're going to do birthdays and anniversaries. We have, and I don't think, well, Benton's not with us today, but he has a birthday tomorrow on the 2nd. So happy birthday, Benton, in his absence.
Finally hit puberty.
He's finally there. And we do have Mr. Fred Thomas here today with us. He has his birthday coming up on the 18th. So happy birthday in advance. I guess I'm the first one to wish you a happy birthday. So it's good to be able to do that. And let's see, Clarence Gilmore has a birthday on the 20th coming up. And Tamara Thomas is a Christmas baby. She was born on December 25th. And I wish she was here.
Oh, she's here.
Is she here? Oh, wait a minute. Okay. Well, Tamara
I'm
Thomas,
here. Thank you.
Christmas baby. Oh my, I mean, you don't see that too often. So I'm excited to see that actually. So that's great. December 25th.
Thank you.
And we have an anniversary, 32 amazing years for Mr. Fred Beamendorfer, 32 years in Rotary. And so we're very proud to be able to honor him for 32 years. That's a great accomplishment. And I'm proud to be able to say that and share that today. So congratulations on that.
And today is actually, he joined Rotary 32 years today.
That's
So
amazing.
so we must be celebrating his Rotary birthday. Oh, here he is, too funny. Let me throw that back up there. Let him in, Zane.
Oh, he's here. Wonderful.
Hey, log in.
Well, Fred, just in time, we were just honoring you for your 32 years of leadership and service.
I think he's still logging in.
Oh, okay. I didn't see, let's see.
There, oh, it just unmuted. Hey, Fred, are you there?
I am.
Fred, so glad to have you here with us in perfect timing. We were just honoring your 32 years of leadership and service.
Woohoo!
You know, I've been in the same building since 1983. Am I in a rut or not?
And I must say, Fred, 83 is not a long time. I always tell my kids that. They think it's way back in another century, but that's not long ago.
No, it's not, but a lot of water's gone under the bridge.
Absolutely.
Well, Fred, did you know that today is actually the day you joined Rotary 32 years ago?
Oh, really?
Yeah, December 1st.
December. And Jim Bray was the one that got me into Rotary, but yeah, it's been a nice ride. I've enjoyed it.
Well, we're honored to have you in our club after 32 years, and you're still very active, involved in a number of areas. So it's just, thank you very much for your service.
Unfortunately, I'm trying to keep up with those two birds called Thornton birds there, and I can't hold a candle to them.
Very true, very true. Well, listen, thank you very much, Randall. Everybody, give Randall a hand. This was his inaugural
Thank you.
time as our acting sergeant of arms. Great job. And so now what I'd like to do is turn it over to James, not Frankenfield, but Thomas, and he's going to lead us in the prayer.
Thank you guys. Dear gracious Father, we come to you thanking you today, first of all, for the many blessings that you bestowed on us all. Certainly in a time like this, with all the things going on in our country, basically all the tragic that we are seeing, certainly in this country, and we pray that you will continue to watch over us. We pray that you will continue to guide us. And dear Lord, a special prayer to this particular agency, this group of men and women who are making a difference. So please continue to guide us and let us do your will. Let us play a role in doing your will. In Jesus Christ's name, we all pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, James. Well, now I'm going to turn it over to our newly announced Christmas baby, Tamara. She's going to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
All right, if you all would join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Hey, Alex.
Yes, sir.
Is Tamara driving and saying the pledge at the same time? Is she using her hand? You know I'm a driver instructor.
I
Grab the wheel when that leg. My God.
I parked just for this reason.
Okay, you better be parked. You do not drive with one hand, okay?
Is this called like cousin harassment?
Exactly.
Yes.
Well, I am, as you guys know, what about our meetings makes me most excited? Can anybody tell me?
Inducting new members.
Inducting new members, but first we have to vote. So Catherine Goodwin, who just joined us, we are going to have a vote on her ability to join our merry band of volunteers. And as we all know, Catherine has been volunteering with us for, I don't know, a couple months now, Catherine?
Yep.
Yes. So she put in her application 2 weeks ago. So I hope everybody's had the opportunity of contacting her, getting to know her. You already got to know her at our service projects, but now we get to do the fun vote. So everybody on here is a member but Bob and Catherine, so you two can't vote. We're going to be using the Zoom capability of a poll for everybody to vote. So I am going to pop it up, and if everybody can vote quickly, let's just press a button and we should be able to move on. So ready, set, go. Fantastic. And Catherine, I know she's like wanting to know the results. It was close. It was unanimous. We have voted you to be a member of Plano West Rotary. Now, also part of this process, which is really what makes it special, is over Zoom, we do a formal induction. Normally it'd be face-to-face, but that's not going to happen anytime soon. So I'm going to formally induct you into Rotary over Zoom. So right now I am only speaking to you, everybody else in the audience. So Catherine Goodwin, you have been proposed for membership and the club has elected you. Therefore, it is my pleasure to induct you into the Rotary Club of Plano West. I understand you're aware of Rotary's requirements and will follow them. You have offered your services to assist your fellow Rotarians in their community and international projects. As you know, Rotary is a service club, each member performing what Rotary terms as service above self. Besides service, you will have the benefit of powerful bonds of friendship with fellow Rotarians locally and worldwide. I especially commend to you your attention to the object of Rotary and the four-way test, which form the criteria for Rotarians in their daily lives. When you travel, you have the special opportunity to attend Rotary meetings and meet Rotarians throughout the world. This is another rewarding benefit of your membership. And now, by the power vested in me as president of Rotary Club of Plano West, I am pinning on you this pin, which is the Rotary emblem, and declare you to be an active member of this Rotary Club. Woo, woo, woo! Welcome to Rotary. We all look forward to the enrichment of our lives and your own by your association in the world's oldest, largest, and finest service organization, Rotary International. Thank you for joining us, Catherine. Do you want to say anything real briefly?
Sure. Thank you so much. I appreciate the warm welcome. I've received so many communications already from lots of club members. And I look forward to continuing service with y'all. You know, Alex had to nudge me a little bit. And when he told me that I was already doing what you already do anyway, it was a pretty easy choice. And I'm excited to continue on with you.
Awesome. It is funny because she's like, oh, I'm so busy. I don't know if I have time to be a Rotarian. It's like, you're already doing it. I mean, you're at our service projects every week. You know, that's what we want. So you are, and you've been doing this for years. And so thank you very much, Catherine. This afternoon, our membership chair, Roxana, she's going to be delivering to you your new member kit. It has a lot of information, and we have a new member process that she will guide you through. So as well as volunteering, you know, what we really focus on in our club is relationships with each other. You know, we are a Rotary family. So we have our family of 45, but we're part of a 1.2 million person family across the world. So excited to have you. All right, one of the things that we do every meeting is we talk about the foundation. So what I'm going to do, I want to show a short video about Rotary Foundation in honor of what the big day is. Everybody's getting lots of emails from every nonprofit in the world. And so let's show the Rotary one. All right. As everybody knows, our major focus is the Rotary Foundation of our club, and we've actually have been able to do a lot in the area of the foundation this month. In fact, we just submitted a check for $960 from donations of our club and matching towards Polio Plus. So great job, members. That's purely because members made contributions to polio, which is very important to eliminate as we move into vaccinating for COVID. And we actually have more donations because we also had a number of members that donated in the name of Rose Wilderum, our honorary member who is no longer with us, and her family's going to be matching it. So we will, between what our club has contributed, members, the club, and her family, it'll be at least another $1,000, possibly two, because they're looking at having, right now, Rose had already achieved Paul Harris +3 for herself, a Paul Harris for her husband, and Paul Harris is for her two grandchildren. And so the family is going to use our donations in her name, augment it to get another Paul Harris and maybe two for both her son, who I've been working with and Glenn's been working with, and somebody that was very, very important to Rose, but I'll let them talk about it. So, but this is what's really interesting. So not only is the family, they were so touched by our donations in Rose's name, because she's a 27-year Rotarian and Rotary is very important to her. Well, they are also signing up for our service projects. Her son, he's a little younger than me. I think he's about 49, and his children, who are her grandsons that are Paul Harris Fellows, they started looking into our website and what we do, and they're going to be participating in our next meal delivery project. So that's pretty exciting because he knows that's something that his mom would really love to know about. So great job, club. You guys are awesome, as always. So let me go through some of the club business before we have our amazing speaker. Once again, we have our Rotary apparel. Everybody can see this, right? Cool, okay. I looked for Zane to tell me it's all screwed up, Alex. You know, but he didn't give me that symbol. So Rotary apparel, bit.ly Rotary apparel, that's the sign up genius. So you could get shirts like this, jackets, the face mask. All I really want, when you do the orders for the jackets, you could kind of order it and pay for it and we'll get it soon, but we can't do the mask until we get 50 minimum in order to get this $5 price. I want to get my mask. So people, buy some face masks. It's got a Rotary logo there because I don't want to buy 50 myself, but I'm getting 5 for my family, 1 for each and an extra. So hopefully you guys will sign up and get some of these Rotary face masks. Tech tutorials, I think I told you guys about it last week or 2 weeks ago. Time flies. You'll see them on our website where Zane is creating little tutorials to do different things with Rotary technology, like logging into Zoom, getting on the Club Runner, downloading Club Runner app. So you guys will really appreciate that. And then also want to remind everybody, it's called President-elect Seminar or Training Seminar. I guess I left off the T, but anybody can attend. And it's only $50 now. It used to be like $500. So the club will reimburse anybody that signs up. It's phenomenal training. It's all virtual. The 22nd to the 28th in February from 4 to 8. That's really not that far from now. So I encourage people to sign up for pets, learn more about Rotary. We do have 25 new Rotarians in our club. So you know, you could learn a lot and it's going to be free. We're going to reimburse you for it. So please sign up. One thing I do want to point out is we got some recognition and it looked like I didn't show you guys. Where is, wow, oh, here it is. No, there. If you guys remembered during August, or was it July and August, when we were doing meal delivery, we reached out to the US Census Bureau and they provided us information. So when we delivered meals, we provided census information to the Douglas community, of which is the neighborhood of Plano with the lowest participation in census at the time. So in recognition of that, they provided us this recognition. So I was just kind of showing you what it looked like, some pictures. If you guys remember these little cups that we delivered with the meals, and here's some, actually, these are Aretha's kids that were delivering it. And so great job, Rotary. We received recognition from the US Census Bureau. That was a pleasant surprise when they sent it to us. So good job, club. So I'm flipping through. Also, I want to talk about, we finished the helping food needs for those with East Plano, those experiencing homelessness. Michelle led that project. I don't know any quantities or numbers that participated. Michelle, how many people do you know participated real quick?
Oh boy, I'm sorry. I don't know exactly, but probably about 5 members like Roger, Roxana, Lisa. Who am I forgetting?
You and Glenn?
Yeah, I was trying to, yeah, it's kind of some of the usual people that we've had at some of these.
And then we had non-members too, right?
Sorry?
We had non-members participate too, right?
Yeah, my daughter has helped us out a few times as well. And my granddaughter has helped with that. And we provided 54 lunches. That's kind of the new normal. So we're providing healthy sandwiches, the Wellness Center. So Michelle Owen from the Wellness Center helped us. Also, we provide sandwiches with at least 4 ounces of meat on each sandwich, which is a pretty heavy sandwich, with grapes, oranges, breakfast bars, cashews. Roger loves to provide cashews.
So thank you, club. Once again, this is one of the many service projects that I think we completed 5 service projects in November. So that was one of them. We did our 3rd Thursday on Greek Isles. We're probably not going to continue that in January because nobody's really doing it. Nobody's going there on Thursday and ordering a meal and saying Rotary to them. So Chris and I are going to maybe look at something different that maybe will get better participation. We had Adopt a Highway. I don't remember how I knew this, but I saw something that said we had 10 volunteers, I think. Glenn?
Yeah, actually I think 9, but yeah, we had a good turnout. We had some people come late a little bit, but we ended up.
Oh, is that where those extra people came from? Okay.
Yeah.
So awesome. I think we had from the club, Yumi, Michelle, and was that it?
Marco came, he's not from the club. That might have been it. And my friend, and then the other people came and saw it online.
Excellent. Because of social distancing, if anybody's ever, we aren't together. We kind of get our instructions and go separate ways. And so nobody really knows who's there except for Glenn, because he kind of handles registration and waivers himself. So that was great that we had 9 people. We also finished up PJs today of the American Legion. They're going to pick them up today or tomorrow, and they have to deliver. They organize it, separate it, and then they provide it to the Office of Veteran Affairs. So their social worker distributes it to the kids of veterans. I don't have a count on that. He's gonna provide us pictures and kind of let us know exactly how many we presented. And we possibly will have him speak to us in 2 weeks. His name is Larry Lawson with the American Legion, talk about what they do and some other service projects that we can partner with the American Legion to support veterans. And so I'll tell you exactly what's going on. We have Sarah Bonsner scheduled for January 1st. She really wanted to speak to us earlier. So she's trying to move, she's the superintendent of PISD. So they're trying to move her schedule around because she likes bringing in some of her senior staff. So she might talk to us in 2 weeks. Otherwise, she's definitely the first week of January, and then we'll have Larry in. So either way, we're going to either have PIC superintendent or the American Legion speaking in 2 weeks on December 15th. So be there or be square. Also, and then everybody had great Thanksgiving last week. And so then to finalize what we have coming up, we're still selling pecans. We basically sell it through December, January. So if you can, get your friends to sell. I'll tell you the best way of selling it is social media or texting. I texted a whole bunch of my friends and I sold 2 boxes, for Laura and I within 36 hours. People said, and I gave them a personal PayPal link, boom, boom, boom. And I took them all to Greek Isles and they picked them up. And so contact your friends. A lot of people do cooking. Either they'll buy them for the pecans because they want to cook them, or they'll buy them because they want to support high school scholarships. And so ask, and we try to get at least, if every member could sell a box, that would be great. If it doesn't work for you, that's great as well. But we're kind of down to our last month or so, and then we try to wrap it up, I think, in the beginning of January. And Michelle and Fred Beemender for our key players in that. So thank you, Michelle and Fred. And then we have our mail delivery project. There's only 2 more left in the Douglas community. Next weekend, and then possibly December 26th. I will have to hear from David if we're going to do the one the day after Christmas or not. I'm going to be there for that one. And so definitely participate in these last 2. And so that kind of covers what we've done for the month or for the last couple of weeks and what we're going to be doing in the month of December. So with that, now I am going to have my bride and my most favorite person in the world. She is going to introduce our speaker that she happens to personally know. Take it away, Laura Johnson.
Hi, everyone. I am honored to introduce you to today's program speaker, Bob Gibbons of Riata Commercial Realty. Bob Gibbons is a 36-year veteran of the commercial real estate industry. Started his career at UT Arlington. He worked for landlords and of office and warehouse buildings, where he negotiated thousands of leases valued at about $500 million, not too shabby. He now works with companies and nonprofits which lease or buy commercial space. Now, he currently also co-hosts Confessions of a Recovering Landlord podcast with his wife. And I guess previously he hosted the Next Level show where he interviewed company founders. So he definitely likes podcasts and TV, it sounds like to me. Anyhow, in his spare time, he's a member of the Plano and Frisco Chamber of Commerce's. He's serves on the Plano P&Z and is an advisory board of the Brain Injury Network of Dallas and a former board member of My Possibilities. You are a very busy dude, Bob.
Well, thank you. Well, I'm going to try and share my screen here. Hopefully this will work. Can everybody see that?
Yes.
Okay, cool. Well, thanks for that introduction, Laura. Yeah, there are days I'm busy and days I'm not. Back in March and April, I didn't think I was going to be busy the rest of the year. Fortunately, that has not turned out to be the case totally. So today we're going to just generally talk about the state of commercial real estate. And so our objectives, we'll talk about some market conditions, some landmines to watch out for, and then some recommendations that I have. And I will tell you that this is really focused on companies and nonprofits which lease office space. So office buildings, high-rise office buildings is really the primary focus. I'll touch on industrial a bit, warehouses. I don't really work in retail or multifamily apartments or hotels or anything like that. So I'm not your guy for those things. So I won't talk about those. So the big issues right now, of course, in the commercial real estate industry is the effect of COVID. And the effect of COVID, of course, can be summed up in this chart. And I don't know if you can see it over on the right, depends on where you have your, the photos of people, but you might want to see if you can move the photos of people if they're over on the right side to the top, because basically this, actually the other thing you can do, I don't know if I can do that here. If you can also move your screen to be a side-by-side kind of thing, so you can see the whole slide separate from the people. But in any case, what this slide really shows is what happened to employment. And unemployment, this shows the unemployment. So employment fell off a cliff, unemployment spiked like nobody ever dreamed possible. And this slide is pretty incredible because it gives you the impact comparing the Great Recession in 2008 and Hurricane Harvey. And this is only Texas. This does not show the country as a whole. But this really sums up everything that's happening in commercial real estate business right now. And it drives everything. The office market is all a function of jobs. If you don't have jobs that require people to sit in an office, you don't have the need for the office space, right? So in our business, we always focus on office employment, jobs that require people to sit in an office. So when the unemployment goes up, the office using employment goes down. And this compares a lot of different cities throughout the country and shows you sort of what happened. And so this is the drop in employment in the cities that had the largest drops. And as you can see, Las Vegas had the biggest drop. New York is in there, New Jersey, Atlanta, there's a whole lot of them. And so you can guess that the greater the drop in the employment of people in offices, the greater that impact is going to have on office buildings, of course. These are the cities with the smallest drop in employment. And of course, right over here is Dallas-Fort Worth at about 6%. So that's pretty good. San Antonio, just over 4%. Austin actually is the lowest at right about 2%. So Austin only lost about 2% of their office using employment. And so that's really been good. Houston's right here. So as you would expect, Texas is faring fairly well compared to the rest of the country. And by the way, if you have questions, we don't have to hold questions to the end. If you want to say something, interject your experience in any of this, please do so along the way. So another way to look at this is to say, you know, how is this different than what it was at the peak in February, just a few weeks before the COVID shutdowns started occurring? March 13th is kind of the date that people typically point to as the coronavirus D-Day, when shutdowns and stuff started happening throughout the country. So, you know, office use and employment relative to the February peak, at about 5% positive. So, you know, those first slides were right after. That was only in the February to April timeframe. So this now looks at what happened since then to a current timeframe. And so Austin has actually bounced back 5% in employment. A lot of that is because of relocations. A lot of companies are relocating to Austin, to Texas in general, but you know, DFW is still positive. Houston is slightly negative. And so these are giving you some ideas of, you know, the relative impact now, since we're now, what, 9 months, almost 8 months into the coronavirus. But it gets ugly in other places. So if you look at this as a continuum, this is the beginning of it. And if we just keep going off to the right, this is what happens with many other of the cities in the country. Las Vegas, Los Angeles, Honolulu, New Orleans. A lot of these companies have, or cities, I should say, are not doing nearly as well as Texas is. So as bad as we may think we have it, we don't. Let's see. Okay, here we go. So another way to look at this is to, this is a slide from a company called Castle Systems. And Castle Systems is a company which creates security cards for buildings. So whenever you go to the office, if you have an access card and you swipe that access card and that lets you into your building, that's Castle Systems. Now there are other companies like them, but that's what they do. So they were pretty smart and they started saying, well, let's keep track of how many people are actually swiping their cards. So this is a different animal than looking at building vacancy. This is looking at how many people are actually going into the office. And so when you look at this, the average for 10 cities around the country is only 17.6% of people are still going into their office. That's pretty remarkable since we're, you know, this was as of November the 25th. So what, 5 days ago, 6 days ago? And you can see how it kind of peaked on November the 10th and then has gone down again because of course we have our second wave shutdowns occurring throughout the country. Texas doing pretty well. We have Dallas, Houston, and Austin all at the top. So that means that those three cities have more people actually going back to the office than most of these other cities further down. Los Angeles was doing pretty well, pretty high up, and then they've fallen off a bit as well. Even Texas, though, has fallen quite a bit, as you can see from and they track this week to week. So here's what it looks like since the beginning of coronavirus. So taking those same week-to-week numbers, starting from what it was back in March 4th, and every single week, you can see this zigzag. And of course, now on November 25th, they're all kind of dropping again. So again, Dallas is the dark green line here at the very top. So Dallas has pretty much had the highest percentage of people actually going back to their office of any city in the country, of at least these 10 that are being tracked. The red line is the average for the country. San Francisco, New York, being way down here at the bottom, San Jose, Chicago, a lot of those states which are being a lot more aggressive in their response to the coronavirus are, of course, down here at the bottom, as you would expect. So what this means is when people don't go to the office, they don't need their space, right? And so what a lot of companies are doing is they're saying, well, you know what? Are we ever going to go back to the office? Even if we get a vaccine, do we want to go back to the office? Is it necessary to go back to the office? And as a company owner or manager, you should be asking yourself, do I really have to spend the overhead for the office space? What people don't really remember or think of in many cases is that they don't realize that the number one expense for most companies is personnel. So the payroll and the benefits are the number one cost for almost every company. But number two is their office occupancy cost. So when something like coronavirus hits, they got to ask themselves, do I want to keep an office if I don't have to? The one thing that I will say that coronavirus has absolutely proven is that technology is up to the task of allowing people to have a distributed workforce. They don't have to be in the office. They can work from home. They can work from Starbucks. They can work from, you know, their beach house or from their mountain home. You know, if you have connectivity, you can probably work for many jobs. That's not the case for all jobs, of course, as we all know. So this chart shows you sublease space. So when companies are in distress, they try to get rid of that second highest expense and they try to sublease. And so you can see back here in the 08-09 timeframe of the quote Great Recession, a lot of companies put a lot of their sublease space on the market. And then that fell off as employment started happening again. Now you can see we always have some sublease space available. It never goes away because there's always things happening, right? There'll be a company that needs to expand and grow. So they move into bigger space. Well, they need to then sublease their old space. Or maybe a company's bought another company and they don't need that space of the company that they bought. So they then get rid of that space, or at least try to get rid of that space through sublease. Well, so since coronavirus hit, there has been 53 million square feet of new space brought to the market for sublease. So countrywide, we're now at 180 million square feet of office space available for sublease. Now in Dallas, I will tell you that number is over 9 million square feet. So prior to COVID, we had about 5 million square feet of space available for sublease, and a little less than 5 million. We're now at about 9.2, 9.3 million square feet. That competes with the landlords. The landlords want to lease you space, but this competes with that. It's another alternative. And as you would expect, those cities where we saw the big unemployment issues are also a lot of those that are having a big increase in the sublease space. Dallas-Fort Worth, although, even though it didn't have as big of problems with the unemployment, 49% increase in the amount of sublease space available. There's a lot of options for sublease space, and sublease can be a really good option for people. This chart basically is here to say it's going to get worse before it gets better. The blue lines are the change in supply. So that means all the blue lines show you new buildings that are under construction. Currently in DFW, we have about 7 million square feet of new office buildings that were in the pipeline, already under construction prior to COVID happening. There are a lot of other buildings that are being announced and are ready to start, but they won't start until after they have a tenant. The yellow demand is, yellow line is what we call absorption. Absorption is simply the change in the occupancy of space. So if you have 100 million square feet of occupied space today, and a year from now you have 110 million square feet occupied, that's 10 million square feet of positive absorption. As you can see from the yellow lines, we can also have negative absorption. And we have at a few times. We had it back in 08 and 09. We're having it right now. And then the vacancy is the projected vacancy line over here. I think this is, and this is countrywide, by the way. And so right now the country as a whole has about 11% vacancy. Dallas-Fort Worth is at about 17% vacancy. Dallas, we're always higher vacancy than the rest of the country on average. This forecast is from a company called CoStar, and it's the premier commercial real estate research and information system. This is what they call their baseline. I think this number is actually going to get a lot higher. Vacancy is going to go much higher than what they're showing here. When vacancy goes higher, rents go down. So they're showing that rents have already started falling and it will fall more. And then they think it's just going to keep going higher. I think eventually that will happen whenever we have more demand for office space, but I think this is going to go lower than what they're showing. Everybody is trying to be real careful and act like, you know, this is not going to be as bad as it can be, but I'm a bit more pessimistic, quite honestly. And yet, in spite of things happening in the COVID world, rental rates have still gone up in a lot of cities around the country. Shocking, right? Unless you're a landlord in San Francisco, not a very good place to be. In San Francisco, some buildings, the entire building is up for sublease. So it's not a great place to be. Dallas-Fort Worth, 0.08% increase in rent since the bottom, or since the top of the market back in March. I will tell you that landlords right now are not responding uniformly to this. There are a few that are reducing their rental rates, increasing their concessions being free rent and construction allowances. But the vast majority of them are really trying to act like we're going to have a very severe V-shaped recovery, that things are going to look great in no time. And just as soon as the election and the new vaccine hit, you know, everybody's going to go back to the office and everybody's going to start hiring back people and all that. Again, I'm not as optimistic as that. I think it'll be a lot worse. And so there is some room for optimism in Dallas, however. This is a slide from the Dallas Regional Chamber. They are tracking 95 projects currently, meaning 95 companies that are considering moving to the DFW area. Now that's down from the number they normally would be tracking, but it's still great. 41 of those were already in process before the COVID hit, but 54 have started since COVID. So there's a lot of companies that are in the places you would expect, California, primarily, New York, a few others, where they feel like they have, like the government has been unreasonably overbearing in their response. But a lot of these were already happening. I mean, we've all heard about people moving to Texas from California. That is the #1 migration pattern in the US for the last probably 5 years, is California to Texas. There are other places, but in any case, so there's a lot of people still wanting to move to Texas. So landmines, I would say, to watch out for. The first thing is something called recapture. So with all that sublease space I mentioned, there are a lot of companies that do have space and want to keep their space, or keep an office, I should say, but they're seriously considering subleasing, taking sublease space instead of going with a direct lease from the landlord. There's a lot of reasons why that's a good thing. One, it's cheaper. On average, it's 15% cheaper just on the asking rate before you even start negotiating. So it's already built out. You can get free furniture. There's a lot of good things about it. But the landlord has the right to terminate the primary tenant's lease, and that's what recaptured is called. If the landlord doesn't like what the tenant that the primary tenant's trying to sublease to, the landlord can either, number one, reject the subtenant request, period, or they can actually terminate that lease and take the space back. So getting ahead of that is, that kind of addresses both of the first two options. The other thing I would say is renewal options are a landmine. Well, if your lease is expiring and you have to make a decision to do something, shouldn't you exercise your renewal option? Absolutely not. The reason is because in most renewal options, the only thing that changes is the expiration date and the rental rate. That's it. Nothing else changes. If you want a 3-year deal instead of a 5-year deal, if you want a 1-year deal instead of a 5-year deal, too bad. If you want some improvement money from your landlord to freshen up the place, too bad. If you want another renewal option, doesn't matter. Nothing else changes except for the expiration date and the rental rate in most renewal options. And it also has a little statement that says, oh, by the way, the rent can't be any less than what you've been paying. So even though the market may have gone down and you should be paying a lot less, if you exercise the renewal option, it won't. And you may be bound to staying for whatever that term is, 5 years, let's say, even though you don't know what the rental rate is going to be yet. So never, ever, ever exercise a renewal option. So my recommendations, number one, don't ever exercise a renewal option. Hate to be redundant, but I can't emphasize this enough. Even in good times, I told people this last year. I've told people this my whole career. Do not exercise renewal options. Then why even ask for them? Because it acts as a reservation for your space. So the landlord can't go lease your space out from under you. You always want to have the first shot at keeping the space. So instead of exercising a renewal option, you can still engage the landlord in a discussion on how you can stay in the building, renegotiate your lease, but you don't exercise the renewal option. That may seem like a very small nuance, but it's a really, really critical nuance that you need to do. Consider a short-term extension. Rental rates will probably be lower in a year. So do a 1-year extension if you can get your landlord to do it. We've done this with quite a few clients. It's not easy to do. They may want to charge you a premium, but so what? If you have to pay an extra $1 a foot today for 1 year, and you might be able to save $5 a foot for 5 years at that point, I think that's a pretty good trade-off. Distributed workforce, you should really consider it. A certain number of employees want to stay working from home. Others can't wait to get back to the office. We have clients doing both. So seriously consider that. Technology is certainly up to the task. Consider moving to another building. The best way to get your landlord to get real on negotiating your lease and giving you a rental rate that is indicative of true market conditions is to threaten to move. You got to put the landlord. Yeah.
Bob, I'm sorry, but we're going to need to wrap it up because we have to end.
Done. And consider buying something. Buying is good. So that's all I got.
Awesome. Sorry for cutting you short, but we end at 1 because a lot of people have to run off to work and everything. So
it's all good.
Thank you very much, Bob. I really appreciate. You do have a number of real estate people. As you know, I'm a CCIM, Randall's a CCIM, and Catherine's been in the business for years, as well as Laura. So I know for sure they definitely know what you're talking about. And then we have a number of business owners here that'll definitely appreciate the advice that you gave. So one thing that we do with all of our speakers is we make a donation in your name to the Rotary Foundation in the name of Polio Plus. So in appreciation of your time and program, Plano West Rotary will donate $10 in your name to Rotary's Polio Plus Fund. Together with the 2-to-1 matching funds from the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, your $10 will turn into $30, which will provide a polio vaccine for about 50 children. So we're going to do that right after this meeting. So you will have a donation in your name for Polio Plus. And once again, I want to thank you very much for speaking to us. It was a very educational information. Oh, Kent Stone just texted me. He's completed 4 CCIM courses. I did not know that. So awesome. Thank you, Bob. Now what I need to do is, as you guys know, next week we have a club assembly. What that is we're going to vote for next year's president. And if anybody is interested in being president, please email Glenn Thornton, who is our club secretary. In order to, and then to move on, to close out the meeting, I am going to turn it over to Roger Libby, who is going to close us out with the 4-way test. Take it away, Roger.
Okay.
You guys seeing it?
No.
Oh,
My bad. Now you see it, right?
okay.
Yeah.
Roger was
All right.
stressed out.
The 4-way test of things we think, say, or do. Is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Third, will it build goodwill, better friendships? And fourth, will it be beneficial to all concerned? Rotary.
All right, everybody. Thank you very much and have a great week.
Bye,
You
everyone.
guys too.
Thank you.